Justin Fields possibly coming to the Steelers via a trade? What's all this talk about Justin Fields coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers via trade? Let's talk the NFL draft. Let's talk Steelers salary cap issues and possible free agent targets for your team. Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's talk about all these issues surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers now as they have their offensive coordinator in place. They're bolstering up that offensive staff in a way that they haven't recently in the past. And there's just so many things going on with this team. And let's talk a little bit about the main one that I hear going on around the league, around Facebook, around YouTube, all these public forums, everywhere you just hear the Justin Fields may be going to the Pittsburgh Steelers via trade. I'm not sure if I'm down for that. I'm not sure if what you have to give up is going to be worth the reward that you receive in the terms of Justin Fields. I think he is a quality quarterback. I think that he could do some good things. I think that he could shine inside the Steelers organization and inside of the Steelers team. But he hasn't had a great career in Chicago so far. And now he's been playing with some mediocre receivers when Chase Claypool's your number two. At a time when Chase Claypool's stock has drastically fallen, I think that, yes, you do deserve to get some weapons to see what you can do. You also see Justin Fields trying to be that superhuman guy out there and carry the whole Chicago Bears team on his shoulders. And now, is that the way that this needs to go? The Pittsburgh Steelers got so many things going on and so many holes to fill inside of the draft. Do you risk giving up your first rounder this year and a third rounder? Do you risk giving up a second and third round pick? There are a lot of holes if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and maybe not enough time to fill them all and not enough resources. I want to know what you guys think about Justin Fields possibly coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers via trade, via a big-time draft day trade, because of one reason. The Steelers are looking at the Bears right now, and Caleb Williams says publicly that he doesn't want to go to the Bears. He doesn't want to play with the Bears. So does that mean Caleb Williams now goes with Cliff Kingsbury, a USC guy who's just now the offensive coordinator inside of the Washington Commanders organization at pick number 2? Does Caleb Williams go there? And do the Chicago Bears get their guy in Drake May? Is that good enough for all of them? Does that make Justin Fields expendable now for the Chicago Bears? Or do the Chicago Bears stand pat with Justin Fields and go out and get a big-time weapon for Justin Fields there inside of the top 5 picks inside of the NFL draft and maybe trade back and gain some draft capital that way? The Bears have options. The Steelers have options. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, do you consider just bringing back Mason Rudolph on a team-friendly $5, $6, $7 million deal per year, 2-year deal, something like that? There's a lot of variables at play here, and things could really heat up once you hit this NFL draft weekend, and there could be a lot of big trades happen. There could be a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of things that we don't anticipate. That's why it's so hard to put out a mock draft, because you don't know where these trades are going to go. You don't know how things are going to just pan out in terms of picks, because you have all the other teams that could be trading and making moves, and now their needs change all of a sudden. So it's really hard for the Steelers, for all of us to pinpoint what the Steelers are going to do. Yes, I think there is a quality center in a second round in Zach Frazier. I think that that's where the Steelers really need to set their sights in general, because I think they need to take a tackle in the first round or get another third receiver, a big-time weapon for Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph. I think that that would probably be the best way. But if you can add a dynamic playmaker like Justin Fields, do you just do it and pull the trigger? Is that the missing key to this team? There's just so many variables, guys. And then you have free agents like Kirk Cousins and players of that nature. I'm just saying there's other things that the Steelers can do. But then you look at the money, the cap space, which we're going to talk about a little bit here. You look at how this is all going to go down. You just look at who the Steelers have to re-sign and restructure to free up this space. So there's a lot of things that could happen, but the Steelers are now, what, about 15 point something, $16 million over the cap currently, which I think the cap is a magic number. I don't think it matters really. I think that the teams can really do some things to make cap space easily. Like, in just for instance, let's just say the Steelers restructure their top guys. They could restructure TJ Watt, they could restructure Cameron Hayward, make a Fitzpatrick, Deontay Johnson, Alex Highsmith, who maybe didn't perform up to that $14 million price tag per season last year. Maybe that's the case. Maybe they redo all those. Cole Holcomb, you could restructure him because you don't know how his injury is going to pan out and if he is going to be available next season, or whenever he is, if he's ever going to be able to be available again. You don't know that. So those guys could get restructured and you could free up and get underneath that $16 million cap space immediately. Not to mention those cuts that you can make post June 1. Mitchell Trubisky, he'd only be a dead cap of 2.3 and he'd save you $5.2 million. Allen Robinson's a big one. It could save you $10 million on the cap and almost get you under with one cut post June 1. He would be $1.9 million to the dead cap. Patrick Peterson could save you $6.8 million and $2.9 to the dead cap. So if you just cut those three players, you would be under the cap by $6 million already without restructures. So, well, almost $6 million, not counting the dead cap money. So you would be about even, probably almost. Yeah, you'd be about even or maybe still a little bit above. But still, you would be around about where you need to be. And then you work on those restructures, and then that would get you underneath the cap. But the interesting thing for the Steelers is they have players that they can redo deals with also. Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris. Najee's set to make $4.15 million. Do they extend him long term and cut some of that money out? Pat Freiermuth, do they extend him long term, backload his contract in terms of freeing up some space this year because he's due $1.98 million. So those things can all happen. But there's other players, their own players that they need to re-sign or look at re-signing. What about Levi Wallace, Mon Adams, Marcus Golden, Quan Alexander, Armon Watts, Miles Boykin, Mason Rudolph, the big one, Elijah Riley. So many big guys that could be re-signed at the cheap. These guys may not demand a big price tag and demand a big contract. So there are options for the Steelers. There's possible free agent signings out there. Tyler Boyd, Kirk Cousins. So things that could really happen, guys. Things that could really change this Steelers team under this new leadership with Arthur Smith at the helm on offense. Arthur Smith is going to want to run that play action, really want to run a run heavy, play action heavy type of offense and be physical in nature up at the front in the trenches. So the Steelers are going to need to beef up that offensive line a little bit. I don't think they're far off, but I think they need to add a couple pieces. Can you do that with one in the draft at center and then one through free agency and gain yourself another tackle somewhere? But we all know centers and tackles cost a lot of money inside of the free agent market. Good ones anyway. So the Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves in a tough spot because there's going to be some tackles up there probably at the 20th pick. And maybe the Steelers trade up just to get their guy even like they did last year. There's going to be Funga, Latham, Mims, Guyton, Morgan from Arizona. Jordan Morgan is an intriguing pick that's picked to go inside of the first round. He's from Arizona, so he could be an option for the Steelers at 20 if there's a big run on tackles and he's the last one remaining at 20 and they stand pat and they still get another first round tackle. So there's guys that are going to be available inside of that 20 range to where they could really make some moves or move up one or two picks or something like that, or even fall back if there isn't a heavy run on tackles and there's still a lot of them on the board. Maybe the Steelers will trade back a hair and allow a couple teams that know they're going to get skill guys or something to where they gain a little bit more draft capital, maybe another second round pick to add to what they already have. They have 2 4s, maybe add another 2, maybe add another 3. There's options there, guys. So we're going to continue to break all these down, but today's video is really just about the cap space issue and what they do with Justin Fields. Does it make sense for them to make a move for Justin Fields? Does it make sense for the Steelers right now? Are they close enough to make that type of move, and are they just a quarterback away from being that good? Do you have that little of faith inside of Kenny Pickett? Do you have that little faith that you're going to be able to re-sign Mason Rudolph? What about even drafting a guy at 20? There's going to probably be a quality guy around the 20 mark again. But that's just kind of what you did with Kenny Pickett. He was 20-something, 21, 20 pick. So there you go. You're kind of doing the same thing, and you're going to find yourself in the same boat again. You might as well just ride with the guy that you already have there. Kenny Pickett's problem is that he can't stay out of that happy feet. He can't stay patient. He can't read the field. He has just failed a little bit here. Not a little bit, a lot. And yes, he's won games. Yes, he's been able to have fourth quarter comebacks. But you ask yourself, heading into year 3 of Kenny Pickett, is he going to finally be able to put all this together and get things moving for the Steelers? Or should they start to hit the panic button now and figure out what to do? Again, Mason Rudolph is on the table. Again, Kirk Cousins is out there. You have him he's able to run a play action heavy type offense. That's where he shines. What about Ryan Tannehill to come in as the backup if you can't secure Mason Rudolph? There are tons of options is what I keep saying. And if I'm the Steelers, I don't just pull the trigger on Justin Fields and burn that kind of draft capital and burn my team's future for just one guy if I'm not 1,000% sold on Justin Fields as being an elite level talent. And that just has to be your thought process. You have Cliff Kingsbury, like I said, going to Washington, becoming the head or the offensive coordinator. You know Caleb Williams doesn't want to play with the Bears. So that adds that big variable in there. So things could get messy inside of the top 2, top 3 picks if you're watching the NFL draft. And we're going to do that. We're going to have a draft night spectacular. Forgive me, guys, if my energy's a little bit low today. I'm not feeling very well. I'm feeling kind of sick, run down, beat down. My whole youth basketball team's been sick. My kids have been sick. My wife's been sick. So, yeah, I think I'm finally catching it and coming down with it. And it's starting to wear me out pretty good. So I apologize if my energy isn't as high today. So bear with me as we push through this week and create content for you guys concerning the Pittsburgh Steelers. So again, correct me if I'm wrong on some of these things or something like that. I'm just trying to muscle through it and make sure that I provide content for you every single day here on Mike Drop Sports. So until next time, I'm Jason. This is Mike Drop Sports. Peace.